Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing something a little different. Why are we doing something different, and why is there Lorcana on the screen on this Wednesday? Well, there's a reason why. The reason being is I just did the Las Vegas tournament this last weekend, and I wanted to talk about my experiences with it. How did I do? The deck I went with, it's obviously on screen somewhere right now, or it's panning over, however we're doing this, and yeah, so let's get into it. I had a blast. It was a great day one, and for a little bit of a teaser, day two was awesome. But I'll get to why day two was awesome. This is the deck I ran. This is a green-purple deck. It is designed to fight your opponent and force your opponent into a grindy game. This is the type of decks I like to play alongside with discard. The reason being is it is more likely for my opponent to make a play mistake if he's playing an extra 10 to 15 minutes longer than he's used to and having to really think about his turns, because that's what this deck does. It just forces your opponent to think more than they care to admit. So I just wanted to show off the deck, show off the card that you get for signing up a day early. This is the Kristoff promo that you get for showing up a day early to check in. Some of my experiences throughout the day, like I played against two hyper aggro decks. In the first round, it was hyper aggro lemon lime. It had a unique coda tech in it where it was just designed to prevent lore loss, which is Tiberius, who I'm pointing at right here, does. So it was very weird. Thankfully, these Elsa like really helped me out. Every time Coda was on the field, I would just play the Elsa or bounce the Elsa and just go, Coda, you're tapped, we're gonna fight. And now I could murk the rest of the characters on the board while lowering lore because I'm sacrificing my characters. My game 2 was against a Ruby Am. Unfortunately, we went 1-1 on the split. Game 1 was bad in the round 2 where he got triple Flynn and he was gaining 6 to 9 lore a turn, and I couldn't stop that while minusing lore. It was just too much. But I absolutely crushed him in game 2. Even though he got the Flynns, I got to go first, and my Elsas were just flying out there destroying him, and then I was absolutely wrecking his Sizus with my Foxes. In round 3, I went up against Ruby M again. 2-0'd that Ruby M. It was clean. Nothing major happened. My opponent couldn't keep up. It was bad. At the beginning of somewhere around the beginning of round 3, they gave us this sweet Dragonfire. Absolutely gorgeous foiling on it. And this thing is awesome. It's worth about $45, 50 bucks. And then my game 4, again, Ruby Am. Ruby Am, by the way, was like 18% of the decks in this tournament. 15%. Steel Song was 18%. And it is absolutely bonkers how many was there. I assumed it was going to be double digits, but I thought it was going to be like low, like 12%, maybe 11. But yeah, again, another clean match. Summon Flynn, I kill Flynn. Summon Sizu, I trade Sizu well by hiding the Foxes. Play rabbits when I can, bounce the rabbits, draw. We go to round 5. Round 5 was my second hyper aggro, which was Purple Steel. Very, very good deck. He was doing bounce shenanigans with Doc. He would run out his hand, bounce Doc, replay Doc, draw 2 cards. And if he had enough ink, he would do it again. Absolutely crazy. The game was nuts because I remember at the end of round 2, I had to play all 4 of my Lyles, and I minused over 30 lore from him because of all the shenanigans he was doing. To be honest, that game was supposed to be on stream, but I had different sleeves on that day, and they were designed art sleeve, and unfortunately they didn't want that on stream. I understood, so we got put somewhere else, And the guy said, my word, I did not want that on stream. That match was dumb. It was grindy. It was boring. It would have been boring to watch, but as me playing, I'm just like, man, technically this guy's earned 42 lore, and it's still not enough to beat me. Like, that's how great Lyle is, and that's how bad it is for your opponent. My game 6 was the final game I played on day 1. I 2-0'd a Ruby Sapphire. I got game 1 decisively. He made me go first, and I was just like, oh, cool. And he saw my deck, and he was just like, I'm just going to quest whenever I can against you. You can go in and prepare me if you can, unless I catch it with Ursula, which I did, and I absolutely wrecked him. Game 2, he didn't gain lore until I was like around 15 lore, because every time he played something, if my Elsa could tap it, I would tap it, absolutely wreck it. He played a dime on 7, and I played Clarabelle that I was hiding in my hand, blew it up, and he did start to get on board because he prepared me, then prepared me again, and then he started dragoning my stuff, and eventually was able to get a dime that I just couldn't deal with. But Lyle came through, made it so that his dragon couldn't quest when it was somewhere around 14 lore. That's how much control Ruby Sapphire has, so it was nuts. Fortunately, in that tournament of 2,033 players, once you win 5 2-0s, you're basically able to split the rest of your matches. So you can go 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1. And that's fine. It's not all the players like it. I understand. I've been knocked out of tournaments like that. But as somebody that is just like, hey, I won five of these 2-0 matches, like, that's crazy. I think I earned a bit of room. So I went from round 7, if I had played that out, I was seed 2. Like, that is how well I was doing. And I split, and only like top 8 decided to split there. Everybody else was playing it out because they wanted better seeds. I couldn't blame them as a player. A lot of them went 1-1, and some got 0-2, and they had to work hard to get back. My next round, again, I split, and I went from 2 to like 18. It was just like, oh, this is getting a little real. And then my final round, when I split, I was seed 30. The reason why I'm describing this is because at this point of the game, there was like a 2% chance, maybe like 1.5, that I could have been bubbled out. Bubbling out means you just drop out of top 64. And I could have gotten 65th, 66, 67. A lot of things had to go wrong. A lot of people had to get 2-0'd, and a lot of my breakers had to lose. Thankfully, a lot of my breakers won, and a lot of people got 2-0'd. So from 30, I went to seed 49, and I made it to day 2. Now, this is something I'm going to share with you guys. This right here is how they handed out top 32. Yes, I made it to day 2, and I got top 32. So for top 128, they were given, I'm trying to find it. I want to show these off like sparingly and separately. There we go. So for top 128, they gave us this beautiful Let It Go. You could see the absolute gorgeous foiling on this. And this is one of the cards I was going for. If I didn't make day 2, as long as I made top 128, I was happy. Absolutely gorgeous. This is like $730. I love card games, guys. I would never go out of my way to spend $730 on a card. My top 64 in day 2, I went against one of my worst 2 matchups. Well, I guess 3, because if you guys watch the tournament, there's a Dark Horse deck that was green steel. I remember going over all the green steel lists the day before, and I was just like, I do not want to play against a single one of these. I did go against Lemon Lime in top 64, and it wasn't the hyper aggro list, it was the discard list. This is the deck I ran for 2 different sets, set 4 and most of set 5, and I switched the day before because I didn't like how when I did lose, it was to ridiculous top decks. I can empty out their hand and they would just top deck and get right back into the game, and it would just felt absolutely awful. So I played against him. He got to go first because he was higher seed, and I actually won game 1 very cleanly. He never played a Diablo, and when he did, I had a Sir Hiss just waiting for him. And this is a common card that can beat down a $30 card, but that's his job. He is there to just kill Diablo. Game 2, I don't think anybody can win unless you have swords. He summoned 3 Prince Johns on me at one point. Any discard that he did do, he was drawing 3 cards. There was times I was inking cards that were useful if I could just hold on to him for a turn, and I was just like, I can't risk it. I can't give him 3 more cards. And it was just getting bad. There was never a point where I felt like I was going to win in game 2, but I was like watching him play, trying to figure out if I could see if there's a chink in the armor. Maybe I can make him make a play mistake if I do certain lines. So I was kind of testing the water. In game 3, he saw 1 Prince John. I was able to bait out the Prince John after he board cleared me with my Elsa by like doing nothing, and he was just like, oh, I just want lore, and I just threw my Elsa at him, and bam, absolutely clean. Eventually I did win. His Diablos were easily, again, checked through my Sir Hiss. To be honest, he missed the Diablo shift on turn 1 and 2, which allowed my Sir Hiss to just quest a couple turns. And then I gave the Diablo Reckless, and I was just like, look, you're fighting my Sir Hiss that's going to quest, deal with it. And I think by the time he even scored a point, I was at 10. And then I Lyled and got rid of it. He ended up at like 2 lore by the end of the game. Absolutely clean. So for top 64, you were given this Cinderella. And it is Cinderella Stoneheart. Absolutely gorgeous card. Played in Steel Song. And this lovely beauty is like $1,100, $1,150. And oh man, I am just so excited to see this. So we're going to put that over there. And then we had my top 32. Unfortunately, this is the round I lost. I played against a mirror match. Again, he was higher seed. The mirror match for green purple is who sees the most rabbits, because in game 1 he saw 3 rabbits, was able to bounce, constantly draw more cards. I saw 1 rabbit. He instantly won, and I wasn't really able to bounce. Game 2, I saw 2 rabbits, he saw 0, and I just, again, I outdrew him, so I won that one. Game 3 was utter bananas. I ran 4 Lyles in my deck. I ran a very anti-aggro deck. I assumed 30% of the meta was going to be aggro. I just wanted easy wins against them. I didn't care. So I ran 4 Lyles. He ran 3. All 7 Lyles were sold that game. Now, I wasn't generating a lot of lore. I was very much reacting to him throughout most of the game. I maybe lost like 5 lore. After the game was done, he lost over 26. He lost 26 lore on the dot. And when we're playing, we went to turns. Now, mind you, in top 64, you have 70-minute rounds. And game 3 was 40 minutes long because of those Lyles. And we just kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was a great game. I enjoyed it. He seemed to be fine with it. And it came down to when turn started. I was on turn 0. I was generating lore. Everything was great. And I was a turn away from winning. And I told my opponent, as I'm about to pass, to draw 2 cards with my Clarabelle. If you have GOAT and you didn't tell me about it, because there was no discard in my deck other than Queen Anne, and I already played both of them, and he knew my deck list because it's open deck list in top 64. I said, you're a monster. And he said, no, I don't have the GOAT. And he had 2 GOATs left in his deck. He had a couple ways of drawing. Like, he had 1 rabbit left in his deck, he had 2 friends left in his deck, and he had a You're Welcome. So if he really wanted to try, he could get it. Or try to get it. And unfortunately, he just top decked it. And it was just like, alright, you got it, man. Congratulations. I shook his hand. I wasn't even mad. Because one of the reasons why I wasn't mad is because this is the real prize I was going for. Yes, I would have loved top 16. Absolutely would have killed for top 16 because that's the invite to nationals. However, I really wanted this Rapunzel. This is $3,500. I was never going to spend it on this. This card is gorgeous, and I was so excited to get it. With that being said, guys, I just wanted to talk about my experience, show off the cards that I got. Maybe you guys got a better look. You got to see the foiling. Maybe you enjoyed this. Maybe this is a deck you might want to run in your locals. We're going to have a link to the dream board that my dream board page where this deck is up. You could take a look at it there. Again, we should have already have a picture up of it at some point. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story. This is a long one. I wish you guys a beautiful, blessed day. Happy pulling. Deuces.